Morning.
Good morning, Judge. Thank you for allowing me the time to speak and share my impact.
Of course.
I have worked in healthcare supporting critical patient care systems my entire career. For 20 plus years, I've worked to help people in the Boston area at several clinics and trauma centers. I architect and implement data center level solutions to help my hospitals better serve their community. This involves understanding large, complex architectures with possibly thousands of parts, knowing how they interact, and being able to quickly diagnose and remediate issues by using that working memory and system thinking to find the broken cogs in the IT machine that is a modern hospital. I first met Emily in 2012. She thought I looked like the star of the then popular movie Despicable Me. So to mock her mom's new boyfriend, she started calling me Gru. So I started calling her Minion. We used those nicknames daily up until her death. Emily was my Minion. I was her Gru. Now every time I see a Minion toy, sticker, or advertisement, I think of her. What I wouldn't give to call out for my Minion and to hear her answering Gru. Can you imagine how painful every new movie in the Minions franchise is? They should be events that she and I would celebrate together. We should be dressing up, being silly, and being embarrassing. Now they are just reminders of the most painful day of my life. In October 2021, my daughter was murdered. And then it got worse. The murder was the worst day of my life, but it was the damage to my remaining family and the everyday suffering that created my PTSD. The first year was a struggle to survive. I can't recall much beyond flashes from late 2021 until sometime in 2023. Many of those flashes involved seeing Emily in crowds, and I yearned desperately to have just one more memory with her. The second year was consumed by anger. I was furious at the defendant for shattering my perfectly peaceful and comfortable life. I felt powerless at the callous actions of another person that completely took control of my life. The third year was marked by a realization of just how severely I was affected and the profound impact it had on my life and relationships. I've been an engineer for years. I think like an engineer. I problem solve. I multitask. The trauma changed how my brain works, and it keeps changing over time. Those major areas of change are my working memory, my multitasking. I've developed tunnel vision, and a severe instance of linear thinking and rigidity. None of those are good for my job. Most of my coworkers use their brains more than their bodies for their jobs. So having significant brain damage is like losing the use of both arms while working construction. No matter what, it's going to cause some challenges. I can't debate solutions or handle conflicts as well because my brain is so rigid that looking beyond my assumptions is sometimes impossible. When I'm feeling better, it takes an effort of will to intentionally recognize that I'm making assumptions and need to start over. As an example, I was cooking dinner one night. It was burgers, so I had to coordinate getting several things ready at the same time. I looked at the mushrooms 3 separate times and thought, I need to cook those now. Then as soon as I look away, I completely forgot they existed. This is not an unusual occurrence in my life, unfortunately. It happens multiple times per day now. That would have never happened before the murderer ruined our lives. The same thing happens at work. I'll look at a log entry and think I should go check in vCenter, and then tab switch to it and have no idea what I was going to do. I have to write lots of notes, so I then go check my notes and remind myself what I was thinking. The working memory is just non-existent after the PTSD. Shockingly, this has caused my work quality to suffer and has had significant impacts on my ability to maintain critical systems responsible for patient care. This crime has also impacted people beyond those who are privileged enough to sit in front of this court and testify. My sister Amanda is Emily's aunt. She misses the opportunity to see what her niece would become and wishes she could tell Emily she is missed and loved. My mother Jill spent 50 years in nursing, and Emily was her only granddaughter and the only bit of family continuing the nursing legacy. She was looking forward to great grandkids and was excited about Emily's family planning and any future kids until Jill found out how incompetent the defendant was as a husband and potential father. She hoped that Emily would eventually marry someone worthy of grandkids. Even before October 2021, she didn't want Emily to reproduce with the murderer. She never met the defendant and only knew him from Emily's stories, and still didn't like his control over her. I asked several of Emily's cousins who couldn't be here today to tell me what they want the court to know about this crime and its impact on our family's children. Sweet young Alexis was born in 2019 and never actually met her cousin because they lived on opposite sides of the country. She says she is upset she never got to know her cousin, even though she sounds awesome. Lucas is Alexis's big brother. He was born in 2015 and did get to spend time with his cool older cousin. He says that losing Emily still makes him upset and he misses her very much and wishes he could tell her all about his interests. Kai was a teenager living in North Carolina when Emily was reported missing. While we were searching Vermont to try and find our daughter, he was powerless to help. When the state police came to us and told us she was deceased, his mother, Aunt Nadia, woke the kids. They all got in the car and drove 18 hours straight to Vermont to be with family, while we all tried to grieve and understand what was happening. Kai says that since we never get to see Emily again, then the murderer needs to go away and also never be seen again. Cousin Jade is Kai's younger sister and idolized her cool older cousin. She had grown up around Emily before moving to North Carolina. When asked if she wanted to say anything, she was so overcome with grief that she wasn't able to express herself, so I'm writing this in her honor. She misses her cousin and wishes desperately that she could come back. Aunt Nadia is the mother of Kai and Jade and has been trying to navigate the tricky path of explaining why this murder isn't normal. People don't usually kill and dismember others. It's hard to believe that when it's your cousin that is gone. Nadia says he has taken away our faith and hope in humanity. If he could not feel empathy for a 5-foot little girl when he was a grown-ass man, and then shame on him. He not only took her life, he murdered her, and that wasn't enough for him. He also took the opportunity for us to even see her or say goodbye. Family wasn't allowed to see her remains due to the condition of the body. We couldn't see her or touch her one last time or say goodbye and we love you. We aren't here to see him. We are here today to ensure justice is done for Emily. The least the system can do is ensure he never gets out and hurts anyone ever again. Emily had a lot of animals in her life. We always had cats, starting from when we first met, and she and her mom had just adopted a delightful fluff ball named Oreo. Then she and I went and rescued 2 guinea pigs from somebody Emily knew that needed to rehome them. Then she and her best friend Lauren rescued 2 barn kittens named Loki and Freya and brought them home. They called us from the car and they announced that they had these 2 kittens and would be home soon. Surprise! Emily outlived the guinea pigs and we buried them together. Oreo died 2 years after Emily was murdered. She never got to say goodbye. The kittens are still alive and living with us, and every day I give Loki a hug and remember how much Emily loved animals. She wanted to save everyone. She would stop and move every turtle out of the road. I regret that when Adrian and I took a trip and swam with sea turtles that Emily couldn't go. We said she would love it and next time we should take her. There was no next time. In October 2021, Callie was then known as Remington. She went on a trip with her parents. She loves car rides. They are her favorite things. Then they parked and argued. She hates arguing and wants to get between the 2 people. Then her dad shot her mom. She is now terrified of gunshots and runs and hides at even distant gunfire. If it's close, she becomes a quivering ball of anxiety. She frantically checks on her people while trying to get them to hide with her. She couldn't save Emily and it broke her. None of us could save her and it broke us. Despite the convicted's claims to respect us, we had to civilly sue him and spent a year in court to get Callie back, despite the law being clear on ownership. He attempted to dispose of multiple vehicles by gifting them to his friends after the murder. As part of the suit, we got Emily's motorcycle and dog back, and the unlawfully gifted vehicles were clawed back and repossessed by their lenders. That suit cost us over $20,000 in a year of our lives. Even just seeing those people here in court for this trial has been hard because of just how much they wanted to take possession and profit from our daughter's murder. How they supplied the tools to dismember her corpse. How he did that gruesome work in their driveway with my daughter's blood draining down the shower drain into their lawn. How they still have the audacity to submit impact statements praising him while denying their own culpability. In October 2021, a golden retriever named Presley was turning 1 year old and about to be rejected as a breeder because she was too small. At the same time, a trainer in Emily's hometown was looking to get a dog to train intensively. Not necessarily as a service dog, but in that general direction. I eventually connected with that trainer when searching for someone to train a service dog for my wife, Adrienne. She met and fell for Presley, and we paid significant amounts of money to get Presley trained as Adrienne's service dog, specifically for the PTSD from this crime. I drove Adrienne to many training sessions over the next year before Presley was at the level to be called a service dog and could come home with us. That was just in time for us to make the long trip to our son Matt's graduation from boot camp. Since Adrienne's PTSD couldn't allow her to fly, we planned a multi-thousand-mile road trip with this just graduated service dog to Matt's graduation from boot camp in South Carolina. We couldn't have made that trip without Presley there to calm Adrienne's frequent panic attacks. Adrienne will speak about her impact, and I won't cover it here. The court is already well aware how much her daughter's murder impacted her. This crime has messed me up in ways therapists are still struggling to unpack just because this murderer felt he had the right to take another's life. As an example, he tattooed Emily's name on Adrienne's back, so every time I see her back, I'm reminded of my lost daughter, the crippling damage to my wife, and that the murderer has left an indelible mark on our lives. The murderer has never acknowledged his actions and continues to deny the physical evidence of his crime. Someone who refuses to take responsibility for their actions is a huge risk to reoffend, and since personal responsibility is required to be a member of our society, I feel the murderer should never be allowed out. Thank you for this time.
Thank you.
Judge, victim advocate Catherine Karen Burns is going to read statements from two of Emily's brothers, Cody and Dylan.
Tell me their names again.
Cody and Dylan.
Dylan? Okay, thank you.
Good morning.
Yep.
And which one is this
Cody
first?
Schwartz, brother.
Which one?
Cody?
Okay, Cody, go ahead.
What impacted my life after my sister was killed? Well, let me tell you this. My sister and I never got along when she lived with my family because me and her always fought over attention from our dad. But once we matured and actually grew up, her and our dad had an inseparable relationship, like the strongest relationship out of all our siblings. My sister wasn't only my best friend, she was also my person I could talk to about anything and everything. She was always trying to push me to do better because she knew what everything was going to be like for me. She was my role model, she was my person, she was my best friend, and most importantly, she was my only sister. After she got killed, I dropped out of school and went straight to work, working a full-time job. I started drinking and vaping, smoking, to try to numb the pain. There's not a day that goes by where I think about her and just wish I could sit down and have at least one more conversation with her. And from her brother, Dylan Schwartz. My sister has been my best friend since I was born. She was there to help me learn my new first as I was growing up. As we grew up together, we grew close. Yes, some arguments, but hey, sister brothers have those. That's what we do. We knew we still loved each other during those moments. Joseph Ferlazzo killing my sister affected me in a lot of ways. Some I can't even explain, but have impacted me, my family, my learning ability, my behavior, and some I can't try to explain. He took my only sister that I have ever had, the best sister I could have ever asked for. He limited the memories I could have with her. He limited what could have been new adventures with her and I. Having my only sister gone has brought on a lot of depression, anger towards people. My life will never be the same without my only loving, smart, dedicated, talented sister gone.
Thank you.
Judge, next is Lauren. This is Emily's best friend.
Good morning, Lauren.
Joseph Ferlazzo took away my closest friend I ever had. I met Emily in the 2nd grade in the girls' bathroom, and she had called me by my twin's name because they had been in the same classroom. She was confused how my sister had changed outfits so quickly, and I responded by telling her that my name was Lauren, her identical twin. From that moment on, we were best friends. More than that, Emily was my soul sister. We fought like sisters, we laughed like sisters. We shared our deepest secrets with each other, secrets that I didn't even share with my own twin. We shared the same interests, cross country, track and field, singing, going to the beach, shopping, and all things sparkly. Like Forrest Gump once said, Emily and I were like peas and carrots. This feels like a stupid analogy, but now it feels as if someone has taken away all of the peas on this planet. The sparkle, the light, and the burning fire that emanated from Emily. The voice she carried and the accomplishments she had yet to achieve. They were taken. Emily loved with her entire being, and it was taken advantage of, broken down, and manipulated until it was snuffed out by a sad, angry, despicable, and lonely man who was given a love far greater than he deserved. Joe is a coward who couldn't accept that Emily would never bow down to him. I've heard that he prefers to go by Giuseppe rather than his first name, Joseph. I wonder, does he think that will allow him to escape his reality? If changing our reality was as easy as changing our name, I would have done so a long time ago. If it meant having a reality where Emily is still alive. That isn't reality, though. The reality is that now, every year on my birthday, October 16th, I am grieving. I'm not happy, even when I celebrate. See, that joy has been robbed from me because I am reminded that every year that I get older, it is the same day that my best friend, her life ceased to exist. I am reminded of how one of my biggest fears, losing my best friend, became my reality. I lost a part of my soul on October 16th, 2021. My best friend, Emily. And even almost 4 years later, I still can't quite believe it's true. I have night terrors almost every night, involving Emily coming back to life in obscure situations just to wake up and remember that she's gone. My mental state hasn't been the same, and I still have severe emotional breakdowns. Alongside the memory of her living is also the memory of the horrors I saw during the trial. How Joseph just couldn't get enough after shooting her twice through a pillow because he was too much of a coward to look her in the face. But he stabbed her 18 times and reduced her to body pieces in a trash bags, sitting in a tiny bathroom. He took away a person who mattered, who was an absolute light in this world, with goals that were supposed to be achieved. He lied and twisted the truth, pathetically, might I add, during his trial, expecting a different outcome besides the one most deserved. Unfortunately for him, the truth always finds a way to expose a person for who they are, which is something Emily also always made sure was true as well. Joe is undoubtedly a dangerous predator who I believe would kill again if he had the opportunity. And for these reasons, I ask that he be given the maximum sentence of life without parole. And if I can, I would like to play a song that I wrote 5 months after Emily died, because it's the only way I could write a note to our friendship. And it sounds shitty for the record.
It's crazy how 4 months, now 5 months goes by so fast. I hardly know what to do, and I'm still feeling so torn. My world went from beneath me, I know nothing at all. Everything is over, and I'm crumbling inside. I feel like I'm sleepwalking, lost in a dream, until I see that sweet sparrow flying above me. It leads me to a maple, the back of a field, so I rest among the daisies, and my thoughts begin to reel. I wonder how I'm supposed to go on to figure out what I want. My best friend is gone too soon, so I can't bitch about what's going on. Can't ask each other questions in the middle of the night. So I look up to the branches, I connect with that sparrow's eyes. It flies high up above me, nowhere in sight. But then it sings its song for me, and I'm reminded of the time when we drove an hour to the ocean in the middle of the night. Sweet sparrow, can you pass a message along? Tell Emily that I love her, and I'm doing just fine. My heart breaks when I think about her, and everything else going on. But I promise you I'll never do her wrong. Oh, no. Be sure to tell her I can feel her flying with you, and I can hear her in your song. Tell her I wrote this song for her, and probably a million more. One day I'll be back with her, it won't be for a while. I know that when that day comes, I'll hear your sweet sparrow song.
Thank you so much.
Judge, the last statement we have is Adrian Bass. We just need to set up the.
Okay.
for it.
You can do it so they can watch and I can sit.
Yeah, we can move it. Judge, the longer cord I thought was attached to the our office, so we need to go get that. If you want to take a couple minute break or.
Did
I
you
need-
what?
I need the longer cord
Oh,
attached.
Yeah.
It's in our office, so we just need a couple minutes to get it. Sally's going to get it.
Can it be moved back so we can see it? There, I can't see. I can't see. If you need a break, let me know. Maybe after Adrian's statement, we'll take a morning break. After her statement.
You still waiting, Sarah?
Yeah, Sally had to go to the office to get it.
can find it. I can't get on it. I think it says. Yeah, I was going to sit here and watch it because all these other people are on it. Maybe that's.
Judge, I think we have 3 or 4 it's broken up into 3 or 4 different sections just because of the size.
Hello, Judge. My name is Adrienne Bass, and I am Emily's mom. I'm going to tell you about my beautiful daughter, Emily, and the impact her murder has had on me as her mother. Writing this statement has been a near impossible task. I've written multiple notes and jotted down countless thoughts that I wanted to share. I've started and restarted again and again. Each attempt resulted in finding myself lost in the anguish of why of her murder and dismemberment. Okay, so on July 25th, 1999 at 5:17 a.m., my beautiful blue-eyed baby girl Emily was born. She was born 2 months after I completed my freshman year of college and 2 months before my 19th birthday. She was perfect in every way. As she grew, she enjoyed friendships, singing. She could sing the socks off of any song she connected with. Painting, riding her bike, being a big sister, and dance classes. In high school, she followed her dream, her love of cosmetology. She wanted to do hair, nails, and everything glittery. She loved going to the beach, singing in talent shows, and searching endlessly for the perfect fancy dress for the dance or prom. Emily challenged herself by running with her cross-country and track teams. When it wasn't her turn to compete, she was the one everyone could hear shouting and cheering on the sideline for her teammates. She wasn't afraid to be a cheerleader. Great things come in small packages. The statement that makes me think of my girl, Emily, who maxed out at 5 feet tall. She was strong and compassionate, and she saw others for who they were as people, not their financial status, gender, race, political views, etc. She was giving of herself and forgiving. An LNA, a licensed nursing assistant. Emily got her certificate and license and joined the healthcare industry in 2019. It was a job where she cleaned patients, took their vital signs, sat with and provided companionship to patients who required observation, and even cared for the remains of those who had passed. Emily would be horrified by the inhumane way that the convicted treated her remains. A big sister, the only daughter, first granddaughter, and great-granddaughter, niece and cousin, a best friend. These are the labels given to Emily in her life. A mother, an auntie, a grandmother, a best friend. The labels that she was denied the day she was murdered. She loved babies and dreamed of having children of her own one day. Mom, he keeps accusing me of cheating on him. I tried to tell him I'm not, but he won't listen. I've never cheated on him. She said he was telling her she wasn't pulling her weight because she wasn't working, even though he was a big part of the reason she was unemployed. She was no longer an LNA because he repeatedly messaged her when she was on the floor, insisting that she meet him outside of her break times to accuse her of cheating on him with coworkers. dozens of bruises from her belly button to her knees. Fingernail gouges down her chest, hand grab bruises on the back of her arm. Dreading a phone call from her as it meant she was crying and he'd done something to devastate her again. Feeling a strong intuition that my life was in danger when we were out to eat the weekend before they left, that he wasn't safe to be alone with, unable to come up with the words to describe to her what I felt, to warn her, not realizing it was her life that was in danger, not mine. 5 foot tall, a devoted wife, athletic, a singer, unemployed and broke, bruised and tired, but excited to meet her sister-in-law, Nikki. The description of Emily on the day she left for Bolton Valley, Vermont. It didn't want to go, referring to the camper bus not wanting to climb the hill up the Bolton Valley access road. It was the last thing we ever heard from her. I still, to this day, read that text as if it said, I didn't want to go, instead referring to herself. Confused, anxious, afraid, in shock. How I felt the night the convicted returned to our house without Emily. Where is she? How could he leave her on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere? Why didn't he look for her or report her missing himself? Why didn't he reach out to David or myself to see that she had made it home? Why did he really have her driver's license? The questions that ran through my mind as David and I made the decision to call the Vermont State Police to report Emily missing. Has she been out in the cold alone, injured, in the middle of Vermont? Has she been abducted? Is she still alive? The questions that I asked myself as we drove to Vermont to meet with Kate Brayton the day after we reported her missing. Anguish, utter despair, raging anger, broken, uncontrollable screaming and crying, and collapsed onto the floor. How I felt when the detective told me they had found human remains on the camper that Emily left our home in. They said they couldn't yet confirm that it was my daughter, but I knew. Were all of her parts found? Can I please just hold her hand? You can cover the rest of her, I just want to hold her hand. Pleading with the medical examiner. Is it too late to ask for a lock of her hair? Questions no mother should ever have to ask. Were her glasses? Where are her glasses? Her phone, her wallet. Emily was never without these 3 possessions. She couldn't see without her glasses. She was extremely farsighted. She felt disconnected from others without her phone. Oh, what I wouldn't give for the chance to see the photos that she took in the last few days of her life, the last few months of her life. They weren't backed up on her cloud. And although he made sure she had no job or money, her wallet contained her maxed out credit cards and should have contained her driver's license. Hollow, lost, unable to think, eat, sleep, or stop crying. This is the way I existed as our family and friends carried me through the following few weeks, where I was forced by the actions of the convicted to decide how to care for my daughter's remains. Which urn to carry her home in, how to wash the smell of death from the lock of hair I was given, when, where, and how to celebrate the life she lived. A 5K runner, healthy eater, fibromyalgia survivor, retired early Head Start teacher, second year grad student with the University of New Hampshire, aspiring speech pathologist, actively engaged with my classmates and clients, an advocate for children and families living in poverty and adversity. Labels one could use to describe my life journey on the day Emily left for Bolton Valley, Vermont. The last time I hugged her goodbye, I was in the middle of reviewing materials I would use the following week to conduct an aphasia assessment on a patient being seen in our UNH clinic. I never made it to the aphasia assessment, nor have I been able to complete my degree program or even attempt to return to the workforce to earn an income. Instead, I have since endured crushing panic attacks, constant intrusive thoughts and flashback memories of Emily's last few days of life and how she was murdered, seeing him jump on her resting body over and over again, seeing him begin to dismember her body over and over again and again, struggling to hold on to my will to live, unable to drive alone, frozen in the grocery store. Intense hyper-awareness of sound and motions around me, irritability and dissociation, so many last days spent unable to be present as my brain attempts to shield me from the anguish. Nightmares, night terrors, insomnia, complete loss of trust in the people outside of my inner circle, loss of faith in others that are inherently good, safe. Fighting for the family dog and her motorcycle. Needing Remy with a fierceness I didn't know I had in me. Moving out of our New Hampshire home because it was simply too painful to live there without her. Handguns, black trash bags, handsaws. 3 of the things I cannot see, touch, or be near without feeling instant response of panic and revulsion as my mind fights to shield me from the images they inflict. Seeing him jump on her and seeing him dismember her. Being re-traumatized when he lied about who Emily was and what happened on the bus that night. Knowing who my daughter was versus who he portrayed her to be. Using this distraction of our emotional response to the lies to deflect from his own guilt. Therapy 3 times a week, numerous medications I would rather not have to take, loving family and friends. The reasons that I'm still alive today. To stand here and give you a testimony on the impact this crime has had on me and my life. I know that this statement is not complete. It is a living, breathing testament to the love I feel for my daughter and the beautiful life that was stolen. She will forever be 22, just at the cusp of adulthood. In conclusion, I want the court to know that I agree with the state's position regarding sentencing. Thank you.
Emmy. Happy. Oh, hey. Hi, puppy. Hi. What are you doing? Hi.
Me and Lauren are literally crying. We just got to my house and there's
Seyote? I call him Shazbot.
I call him Bob.
He's not even confused.
Let's take a 10-minute break, 15-minute break.